What's up, folks? I'm Odd, by the way, and welcome to another random generator challenge. Basically, I seem to only be doing these, but they're fun, and they're one of the most easy ways to spark ideas for stuff like this. Also, I got a new mic stand as a Christmas present, so Wheatley here is tall today. Anyway, today I thought that we would have a fun time going through another random generator experiment. This time around, I am coming back to this website that you might recognize if you've seen my random animal hybrids episodes. I've done a lot of these. As you can see, I have set the number of results just to 1 this time, however, because I had an idea to make some animals that are not just animal hybrids, but are in fact a combination between an animal and a plant. This is a random plant generator that I found. And basically combine these two together to create unique fantasy creatures that are sort of Plant-imals, I guess, and see what we can come up with there. I'm not totally sure how this will go about. Probably might turn out very Pokemon-esque or whatever, generally fantasy vibes, so I'm curious to see how that will work, but I think that this will be a fun idea. So at that, let's just jump right into it and see what we can make. Let's start with our first random animal. And we'll go back and forth for probably 3 because that's how I like to run these. So I will just re-roll from this. See what we get. A mongoose. Okay. Ricky Tiki Tavi. I will grab that. Alright. And now for the random plant generator. A boop. The African daisy. Oh, look at how pretty that is. That is beautiful. Alright, so I'll grab a screenshot of that as well. And I'll probably look up more references for this. OBS is going to be in the corner of that screenshot, but that's okay. Alright, so our first combination is going to be a mongoose and an African daisy. And I think that works because mongoose exist in Africa, to my knowledge. But I'll have to look it up. Might be a different kind of mongoose than the one pictured here. And if that's the case, I can always change it up a little bit. Alright, next selection. A boop. You got a snake. Red and yellow. Friendly fellow. Is that a corn snake? Don't know. It looks like a pet snake of some sort. Or is corn snake the deadly one? Just says snake, so I'll have to look it up later. Or I can choose a different snake, I guess, since it just says snake in general. Alright. And the plant for our snake friend. A boop. The Katsura tree. I have never heard of this plant. I will have to do some research, but okay. Got you. Scoot you down. So our next is our snake and Katsura tree. It sounds Japanese, but I don't know. Alright. And our final selection for the animals, an orangutan. Okay. And our random plant. Bloomstruck hydrangea. Ooh. Is that just a hydrangea in bloom? It's a weird name for it. I can only assume it's a variant. And I will pop you guys over down to clip here. So you can see our selections here. As you see, a corner of OBS got stuck in those plant pictures, but that's okay. But we have mongoose, African daisy, snake, Katsura tree, orangutan, and a bloomstruck hydrangea. Let me look up before we continue on what the Katsura tree is. I don't know. Curious. And I want to know if it's native to Japan! It's an excellent specimen or shade tree in midwestern landscapes, apparently. So, I mean, it's a Circidifilum. So I mean, it's just a nice, like, pretty leafy tree. Okay, interesting. And then what is the difference? What's bloomstruck hydrangea shrub? It looks like it is just a variety, a copywritten variety of that of hydrangea. I don't know what the difference between it and standard hydrangea is. Maybe it just has a lot of blooms. It says it's disease resistance. Also might call them endless summer. So maybe they are just in bloom for way longer. Otherwise, I have no clue as to why they are called that, but, you know, plant varieties be plant varieties, so whatever. I think I already know what the African daisy is all about. Still don't know what kind of snake this is. Hold on. It's a red and yellow snake. What's a corn snake look like? I think it might be a corn snake. And yeah, they are very commonly pets. A lot of varieties of them. Okay. Well, at that, I am going to finally pop this over to Speedpaint VoiceOver and let you know what I have done with these combinations when I get there. This is a unique challenge, so I'm curious to see what I can do with it, but I had this idea and I thought that it was really cool, so see you there. Starting out with the mongoose and African daisy, I decided to actually use the lasso fill tool first. I've been finding it really helpful for quickly thumbnailing designs. That being said, these creatures were still definitely on the long side of drawings I've made for the channel. Initially, I was just going to go for the bloom colors, which are this really funky sunset gradient, but I realized partway through, you know, the stalk and the leaves can really also define a flower, especially if I'm making animals mixed with plants. It would make sense to use the whole plant. Doing that really took this from a weird Technicolor mongoose to more of a true Plant-imal. Mongoose are really interesting creatures. Their ears sit kind of low on their heads compared to like mustelids, I think is the closest thing I could compare them to. And apparently they're related to meerkats, which makes sense when you see them side by side. The body type I went for was inspired mainly by the yellow mongoose here because there are a lot of varieties that can look pretty visually different, so I needed to narrow it down at least a little bit. Because of the color scheme I chose, I wound up naming this girl Sunset. All of these plant creatures derive from a sort of magic combined with evolution, in my mind. These animals, at some point in their distant past, decided to combine with plants so that the plants could move around. Being part daisy allows the flower mongoose to heal wounds more quickly and avoid skin conditions, and they can also eat any bugs or small animals that might try to eat the daisy, which turns out quite symbiotic. The way they reproduce is twofold. The daisy blooms and creates more normal daisies, but the flower mongoose has to breed to make more flower mongooses. Their unique bright colors are used for attracting both pollinators and potential mates. Next up we have the snake, again I believe a corn snake, and the katsura tree. For this one I wanted to treat the snake itself like the roots and trunk of the tree and have a pattern of leaves on the top of it. Since katsura are also known to grow suckers near their base, they usually have multiple trunks, so I decided to represent that by having a two-headed snake. Because of the size I wound up making here, I didn't quite focus on the detailing of the leaves, but I did fill in these kind of blob-like clusters I made with a leaf brush later on, so they're not just blobs. I decided to go for fall colors for two reasons. One, because the yellow and orange made a nod to the original snake colors, and two, because apparently the katsura are known for their unique scent in the fall. According to what I read, they can smell like cotton candy or caramel, just very sugary, apparently. Definitely makes me want to experience these trees in fall myself. I already like the smell of fallen leaves, that just sounds like a bonus. Although it might cut into that kind of crisp, earthy smell I'm familiar with, I don't know. Regardless, it sounds like an experience. Because of that fact though, I named these guys Honey and Sugar, the Katsura twins. Tree snakes are regular living forests. They spend their time slowly moving down landscapes and bury themselves in the winter, leaving behind a forest where there wasn't one before. Older tree snakes root themselves and move even slower, only as fast as their body will grow away from their tail, creating a whole biome on their backs. Honey and Sugar here are still quite young and are itty bitty by comparison, about the size of bonsai trees right now. Finally, we have the orangutan and hydrangea. This one came to me the quickest in terms of ideas, but definitely took me the longest in terms of details. The thing about hydrangeas is that they look like roses or carnations from a distance with those big, showy petals, but they're actually just giant clusters of tiny flowers, which look just about like the most generic 4-petal flower you could doodle. Probably a good thing because I wound up having to draw quite a few of them. I was going to have the whole base of the orangutan be green, but I noticed that the stalks of the bush for the hydrangea were actually kind of a woody red color. Since orangutans have a little bit of skin showing on their faces and hands, it made sense to me to have that be where the stalks of this animal would be, effectively. The place the leaves and flowers all grew from. The majority of what was fur became leaves, and because they're just so damn cute, I decided to draw her holding a little baby who just still looks like a little green sprout with patches of leaves coming up. Hydrangeas are actually really cool plants I knew about before this because their flowers can change color based off of the pH of the soil. I think it's blue for more basic and pink for more acidic and then purple for in-betweens. I gave this mama kind of a pinkish purple gradient, maybe a changing diet or something, but that along with the brighter centers of the flowers made her look like a starry sky, so I called her Starry and her baby Dipper, like the Little Dipper that starts the Ursa Minor constellation. The flowering orangutans start out green to better camouflage themselves in the forest, then their skin turns a deep red as they mature and their leaves come in. Once they reach sexual maturity, they start budding flowers that change color based off of their diet. A healthy, vibrant flower coat indicates a good potential partner. Females that are pregnant or have recently given birth stay in a longer full bloom that covers the top half of their bodies. But those are all my creatures for this week. Kind of a different experience overall, but still really fun for me. I don't know if this will surpass animal hybrids, but it was a really interesting design challenge regardless. Let me know what you think and which design is your favorite. I'm a little stumped myself. Maybe Honey and Sugar because I just like their overall concept too, but the other two designs are so vibrant and cool. I love the flowers. I feel like they all have their strengths. Let me know and give this video a like if you liked it. You can also subscribe to catch more weird and fun art challenges like this I do in the future. I draw a lot of weird little creatures from Pokemon to mythical hybrids, sometimes D&D characters, whatever suits my fancy. At that though, I'll leave this here and I'll see y'all next time.